Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I actually decided to make a quick little detour before we get into what our style might be, but I definitely want you to stay tuned for this video and the next one because I will be using the cast of Bling Empire to show you guys the differences in style. However, not everybody fits into some of those categories, so I will have to show you additional examples. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about what is fashion, what is style, what is the difference between designer, couture, and haute couture, and then what is, because there's a breakdown of what is the least expensive way to shop, all the way to the most expensive way to shop, which is haute couture. So when I show you guys examples, they will pop up over here. So we're going to get started with what is fashion. So fashion is the prevailing style during a particular time. For example, the summer. There is fashion for the summer. There's fashion for the winter. It's also a form of self-expression at a particular period and place and in a specific context of your clothing, your footwear, your makeup, your hair, your accessories, and even your body posture. So now some people might be wondering, well, how does that differ from style? Is fashion and style not the same thing? No, they're not the same thing. Style is a distinctive appearance. It's a particular manner or technique by which something is done, created, or performed. So just like when you think of maybe music, there are different styles of music, but they all fall under music. So style is a part of fashion. But when you're discussing fashion, it mainly means for that particular period of time or place. For example, fashion in America is different than fashion in Japan. Summer fashion, again, is different than winter fashion. But style is how you present the fashion. Everybody has a certain style. My style is comfy, and my secondary style would probably be elegant or classic, which we will get into in the next video. So those of you that are interested in getting more into fashion, you do need to understand these terms and what they all mean. Now, just because we cannot afford couture doesn't mean we shouldn't know what it is. So when you are discussing fashion, there are different levels of fashion. Like I was trying to explain earlier, they break it down from least expensive fashion to most expensive fashion. The least expensive is of course going to be your discount stores like Ross or Didi's Discount. The next level up from that is your budget shopping, which is like the Old Navy sales rack, and sorry that I'm going to ruin this name because I say Sheen. Apparently it's Shine. I don't know, I've heard it pronounced like 4 different ways. Those are your budget stores, budget fashion. Your moderate stores, which is the next level up, is brands like Levi, Gap, Nine West. Above that you have contemporary, which is like H&M and Zara. Then above that you have the category that's just called better. That's going to be Nordstrom's and like your Ralph Lauren. Above better, which I think is a perfect term for it, is called bridge. To me, that basically bridges the gap between cheap and moderate to boom, we're getting into designer and couture, literally. So the bridge is going to be places like DKNY, Lauren by Ralph Lauren, and Michael Kors. Similar things. Designer is your second most expensive behind haute couture. Examples of designers that may not be considered haute couture, which we will get into the difference here soon, or couture, is going to be Fendi, Burberry, Valentino. Those are brands that are considered designer. Now, you may be wondering, well, what is designer? What exactly does that mean? Designer is usually occasion specific, worn for special events. It's known for their excellent quality, creativity, and skill. They change seasonally and they do follow the fashion trends. Couture. This is where we start getting into the fancy stuff. Couture is any fashion piece that is handmade and it's one of a kind. When you buy something from H&M, there's a whole bunch of them on the rack and they're manufactured. It's not a seamstress or somebody sitting there hand sewing this stuff together for a particular person. Now, haute couture is a step above couture. Very, very high fashion. It's mostly by hand. Majority of every single thing that a haute couture piece is by hand. One of a kind again, with master artists. They're expensive, more expensive than designer. Higher quality with an extreme attention to detail and finish. They're very time consuming. Now, haute couture usually is worn by people that can afford it. Celebrities, multi-millionaires, big people in the fashion industry. Those are the people that are wearing haute couture. Not everybody gets an invitation to go watch their runways. It's usually those runways for haute couture are typically just their clients. Like a lot of those runways, it's only the people that have purchased from them before or are able to purchase from them. We're talking a lot of money. Okay, like the next video I'll break down some of those and try to get some prices for you on what we're looking at here. Now, the difference between haute couture and couture, the biggest difference is that haute couture is regulated by the French government. They have very specific things that they kind of call them houses. So basically like a workshop on, kind of on our end. They have specific regulations they need to meet in order to be considered haute couture. Those regulations are, they must own, I'm just going to say workshop because there's a fancy word for it and I'm going to ruin it, okay? They must own that workshop there in Paris. They must have at least 15 full-time employees. They must present 35 different looks 2 times a year to be considered haute couture. Now there's like this regulation board that releases a list of who has met those requirements and who has not. So those of you who may or may not know Hermes, I don't know if they're on it now, but back in 2013, they actually fell off the haute couture list. They did not meet those requirements anymore. So those are the, oh, I forgot to mention, those of you who know Chanel, Chanel is the biggest house in haute couture. Chanel is very, very popular. Those of you who know their perfume or their clothing or their shoes, Chanel is very famous for the little black dress. They're basically the brand, or Coco Chanel, who said, hey, every woman should have a little black dress. There are some other things that are very iconic when it comes to Chanel that we'll get into when we discuss these bigger brands. But just so you guys can kind of understand, when I use these terms, you guys know, hey, I understand what a haute couture piece is versus a designer piece versus a contemporary brand, whatever the case may be. Because when we get into the stuff from Bling Empire, a lot of that is going to fall in the designer, couture, and haute couture realm. They don't touch anything lower than that, okay? I'm telling you, some of their outfits are head to toe probably over $100,000. Maybe even in just one piece, $100,000. Like we're talking insane amounts of money on fashion, okay? We will be getting that into that in the next video when we will be discussing the style of each cast member. Not every single, but kind of the main 7 or 8 that we will be discussing, what their typical style looks like with examples, and I'm going to kind of rate their outfit, because those of you who are familiar with the purpose of this channel is we will be discussing body shapes, what is ideal for you to wear, what flatters you the most. Some of the outfits that they wear are not flattering for their body shape at all. But like I mentioned before, it does not mean that you cannot wear it. And just like I will bring up in the next video, just because one of their styles might be trendy and creative, it doesn't mean that they're not a sexy style or that they're not a sexy person. It just means that on a typical day-to-day basis, the style you will see them wear is trendy and creative. Just because somebody is sexy style doesn't mean that they can't be classy and elegant. That's not, it just means that day to day, that is the style that they fit. Most of us, I will say, probably have about 2 categories that we fit into. Like I said, for me, day to day, I am comfy. I will not sacrifice my comfort for style and fashion. However, when it comes time to go to events, special occasions, I am more an elegant or classy style. I am going to dress up for those occasions. They don't happen very often, okay? But as you will notice in this next video of these people from Bling Empire, they dress like that on a daily basis. When I was watching that, the first 2 seasons, I was like, these people are going out of their house looking like, they literally are walking out of their house to go shopping and they look like you tore a page out of Vogue or straight off the runway. Whereas me, I am not, even if I was a multi-millionaire, I'm not, no, that's not comfortable for me. And being a comfy style, I will not sacrifice my comfort. It does not mean, though, that you look lazy or like a bum. You have to be very careful, if you are a comfy person, to not look like you just rolled out of bed. You still want to have some sort of style and fashion, still being comfortable. So that is the end of this video. The next video, which is going to be closer to when season 3 releases, which is October 5th, that's when we will start discussing the clothing and the style of the cast from Bling Empire. I will give you a little background on each of them, and then we will talk a little bit more about some of the brands as well as their personal style. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the notification bell on if you want to, and I will see you guys next week.